So this is it, everything that went with me for a 5-day backpacking trip along the Cumbria Way. We'll take a look at all the bits of gear, talk about what worked really well and what maybe I'd change for next time. Got no idea what it all weighs, but I've brought a scale with me, so once I've got everything in the pack, we'll also weigh it as well. I'll start with the pack and then we'll see what else I took as I put things away. So the backpack I used was the Atom Packs Mo EP50. This is a lightweight pack. It does have a frame in it. It was really comfortable. It worked superbly for the whole trip, to be honest with you. It carried the load really well. Loads of spongy pockets, big pockets for my water bottles. There's a section under here which still got some of my rubbish in, and I also kept my waterproof jacket in here as well. These packs are pretty expensive as they are custom made. I really like it. It is by far the best backpack that I own. Although the materials are waterproof, the pack itself is not 100% waterproof because it has got stitch in it. So everything in the pack went inside this large Osprey pack liner. So at the bottom of the pack went my quilt. So this is the Thermarest Vespa 20. It is really, really lightweight. 900 fill down, I think it is. Compressor's really small and lofts up well. And quilts aren't for everybody. It worked perfectly. However, it wasn't cold conditions at all, so I think this is rated down to -6. I think there was one night I didn't even sleep with it on. I just pulled it over when it got really chilly in the night. But yeah, lovely bit of kit, really lightweight. I think it's about 500 grams, something like that. I don't know exactly. To be honest, I don't care. I was just trying to choose gear that I thought was as light as I can go, but without sacrificing comfort. As always, I didn't bother with a stuff sack for the sleeping bag or quilt. I just shove it to the bottom and then it fills all those nooks and crannies. You can see how much it lost because it's filled the bag. The sleeping pad. So I used the Cedar Summit Comfort Light. This is really comfortable. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say it's the most comfortable pad that I've got. However, you wouldn't think so because it's not the thickest, but I really enjoy sleeping on this. It also doubled up as my chair. I just folded it over and then sat on it. So it just got me off the floor, which was nice at the end of a long day's hiking. I ummed and ahed about taking this because it's not my lightest sleeping pad. I think this is about 660 grams. I've got one that's 300 and something grams, the X-Bed one. But I'm really glad that I took it. One of the other good things about it is it really inflates in about 3 or 4 bagfuls with this. Whereas some of the other pads I've got, sometimes you're pumping air in for about 10, 15, even 20. Inflates really quickly, deflates really quickly. Perfect for multiple nights. The pillow is also by Cedar Summit. I think this is the Eros Premium regular size. Again, this deflates and inflates really quickly. Squashes down to nothing. Pretty comfortable as well. There was an occasion where I just wanted to bump up my pillow size a little bit. I just used my down jacket, which was the Rab Mythic Alpine. I only had this on once. I probably could have got away without taking it. There was one night when I got to Coldbeck. I had a little lie down after we'd been and had a meal and a pint, and I got chills, got real shakes. That might have been because I was a bit run down, depleted of energy. This helped me out then. Had a hot shower, put this on, I was right as rain. Again, this squashes to nothing, just goes down in all the nooks and crannies in my pack. So don't go adjusting your telly or your phone, but I must give you a bit of a warning about bright colours. So these are the beauties that I wore for the whole hike. These are Rab Talk pants. There we go. These were brilliant, to be fair. So comfortable, quick drying, moisture wicking, lightweight, durable as well, decent pockets, And I did like the elasticated waist on them. Had a few people asking me why I didn't hike in shorts, and that would probably be too hot in these. And I did get warm because it was hot, and I had a bit of a rash on my leg here. I don't put it down to the trousers because I have had a similar rash before under my socks, but didn't cause me any discomfort or anything. It just looked pretty weird. They're not going in my pack. What was in my pack though were these shorts. These are just Decathlon running shorts, incredibly lightweight. They dry in like a nanosecond. 2 pockets, but there's no zips in them. But I did like to have these on around camp. I don't like hiking in shorts because I have problems if I'm going through long grass, thistles. I seem to attract the bugs as well. They always bite me, and I don't like having to cover myself in sun cream and sprays and stuff. So the trousers work for me. Again, it's personal preference. I also always wore a long sleeve top. So this is a fast wicking hiking top. This one's a Decathlon one. This is the one I started hiking out in. I did take some spare clothing with me as well, which I will show you in a minute. But this was easy to wash, easy to dry. Decathlon do some good value for money stuff. I took a really lightweight fleece. This was a Patagonia R1 Air. I wanted something that's really breathable. This was perfect for that. So you could have it on as a little bit of cover, but you can still feel the breeze through it, which I like. You can see the pattern there in the fleece. It's easily the most breathable fleece I've ever worn. I did have this on an evening. Didn't need it on during the day, it was just too warm. And I didn't put it inside the pack, it was just strapped on the top, which I will do at the end. My waterproof, that never saw the light of day. This is a Outdoor Research helium jacket. I didn't take any waterproof bottoms. Worst case scenario, my legs got wet. I did have some shorts to put on, which would have meant just wet skin then. I wore a Rab baseball cap. Look at the blood, sweat and tears in that. I've not had a chance to wash this yet. This is actually one of the things that I would change for next time. It's just a standard baseball cap. Cotton polyester blend, but I'd want something that is more breathable next time, and I needed it to keep the sun off, but it was not very breathable. Right, so I took a spare clothes bag. So in here, what did I have? I had another long sleeve top. This is a Rab one, incredibly lightweight. It's almost dry as soon as you wet it. It is brilliant bit of kit. I had 2 spare pairs of boxer shorts. I used Step 1 boxers. These are bamboo, very good for controlling moisture in your nether regions, help reduce chafing as well. And I had another lightweight mountain equipment t-shirt. The plan was I took 3 pairs of socks. There was, including the ones that I went in, 3 tops, very lightweight tops, and 3 pairs of boxers. So I could always have one on, one that was drying on my back. If it rained and they didn't dry, I had something dry to put on when I got back to camp. Socks. It was 3 pairs of darn tough socks. These were really good. In 81 miles, I didn't have a blister. I did look after my feet best I could, but you know, the socks have probably helped out as well. One last thing. Can't believe I actually took this. A beanie, mountain equipment. As you can imagine, I didn't need it. Yeah, they all just went in a stuffed sack from a sleeping bag. So I completed the full 80 miles in these Ultra Lone Peak 5s. These are very different to anything that I've used before. They have got a huge wide toe box on there, so it allows your toes to spread out. It's a very different feeling, and it's so much more comfortable than regular hiking boots. And these are pretty much a go-to now for a lot of long distance trail hikers. They're also a 0 drop shoe, which means the height from the heel is exactly the same as to the front of the foot as well, whereas Most shoes and trainers that you get these days are sort of wedged upwards like that, and these give you a more natural way of walking, how our body's supposed to work, but they do take some getting used to. I didn't put enough miles in before I did the walk to get used to these, so I did pay the price a little bit when it comes to pain in my lower calf areas. So you need to build up the strength in those areas, but it does relieve the pain in your knees. So I've got no knee pain at all, no hip pain. In fact, I feel like a new man, honestly, when it comes to my knees and my hips and my lower back. So I'm assuming it's given me a better walking posture. However, these lower calf muscles took a bit of a beating during the walk. I'm definitely a convert now when it comes to these zero drop shoes. In fact, these particular ones have been relegated. These are my everyday trainers now. They're so much more comfortable than the stuff that I've been wearing at home, my Converse or my Reeboks. Not gonna lie, they're not the trendiest, but comfort, better walking form comes first. A couple of bits that went in my hip belt pocket. That is a merino buff. I did take my synthetic Montan Prism gloves and a smidge head net. Pack the grass for later as well, look. It's all insulation. Water. So I took the Platypus Quick Draw filter and bag. I was really impressed with how this performed. What I liked about it is that it's sealed on both ends. So you've got a cap on that end, so you can be sure that it's not going to leak anywhere, basically. There's also a cap on the bottle bag. I'll notice it more in the winter because I can now put this inside my sleeping bag, so it's not going to freeze, or store it in my pocket, because if these freeze, then the filter inside actually gets damaged. I haven't needed to do so yet, but it's also really easy to back flush this and to check the integrity to make sure that the filter's safe to use. This just went in this bungee here so I could get to it easily when I stopped for water. And a couple of these little stuff sacks from Low Alpine. This one just had my odds and sods in it. This one had electrical cables in it, and this was like my hygiene kit. I'm not going to show you every individual item in them, but yeah, some things that I did find really useful. So this was good. Wilderness wash. Suppose you could just use anything really, but I use this to keep myself clean, to wash my clothes in. Really handy little bit of kit. This was like my real self-care bit. This, I've mentioned it in one of the videos, Body Glide. Normally I suffer from chafing and it can ruin a trip. Put this on in the places where you get chafing before you start, or even if you're starting to feel it, and it's literally a lifesaver. And the Compeed I used on the bottom of my feet and my heels, and I didn't get a blister in over 80 miles. However, I did get a couple of hot spots for the last day, and I put some of this Luco tape on. These are unsung heroes, the things that not everybody talks about. They rave about tents and backpacks and stuff, but there's things that are make your life comfortable come in small packages. What we got in this one, I know it's probably not necessary, but I took a little deodorant stick because after a shower I did like to freshen up. I had a couple of spare Ziploc bags. That's the insect repellent burner that I used. Did half a job. I didn't take this with me, but I bought it for the last day. But they didn't have one of those charging ports in the campsite there either. Head torch was a little Olight. Can't remember the model of it now. Oh, and this. There's little bits of things in here like a spare bit of guy line and wind foams for my GoPro, but cork ball, it's the first time I've ever used one. I'd seen a few people use them before. Thought it was a bit gimmicky, but it really does work. So yeah, get yourself a cork ball, only about a £5. This one only really has a little thin carry bag there if I needed to take any rubbish out. cables for my iPhone, charging things up and stuff like that. These were great. Electrolytes, I think that's what they're called. Put some of them in my water. It did help, potentially, I don't know. Replace some of the minerals and salts that you sweat out. Also makes the water taste a little bit better than just bland water. Toilet and wash kit was just a little trowel, a few wipes and toilet paper. This went on the outside of my pack again. However, didn't need to dig any holes or anything like that. There's plenty of places along the Cumbria Way where you can go to the toilet. Food and drink. So for water, I just store it in these water bottles basically. You can use these over and over again, fill them up. They are very durable. And also these caps, they fit my water filter. So if anything ever went wrong with my bladder, I could use one of these to filter my water still. Food I took in a big Ziploc bag. I didn't take food for the full 5 days. So I took 2 main meals and 3 breakfasts. I've actually got 3 main meals and 2 breakfasts in here just to replicate it. And I took some snacks as well. So a couple of picnic bars and then there's a nutty bar there. There is loads of places along the Cumbria Way where you can stop, grab a sausage roll, pasty, bit of pub grub. And the plan was, as we did, was to go into one of the outdoor shops in Keswick and buy some more dehydrated meals for the final 2 days. This is where planning your route comes into its own. You can predetermine where your water sources are and where you're going to resupply when it comes to food. We had originally planned to do a wild camp, but being able to use the campsites was brilliant. It makes life so much easier, so much more comfortable. And if they're there, why not use them? The last campsite was £7.50. For me, it's a no-brainer for being able to get a shower, somewhere to be able to pitch up nice and early, and go somewhere into the village to get something proper to eat. All right, my first aid kit. So I trimmed this down a little bit. I didn't take lots of bandages and stuff like that. I had ibuprofens, allergen pills, wipes, duct tape, super glue. Took a little multi-tool with me, as well as some water purification tablets. And there's a mini charger for my Coros watch. So I actually took 2 watches with me. Joe said I looked ridiculous, but not a bad image. So I used the Coros for pretty much all of my navigation. I didn't need to charge it up once, it still had 13% left, and I had the navigation on for the full 5 days. Few people have asked me what it is. This is the Coros Vertix 2. I don't know how it compares to the Garmin watches, but did a great job navigating for me. As for my other watch, this is the Apple Ultra. This is my everyday watch. I use this all of the time for payments, for monitoring my steps, all of that kind of stuff, heart rates and stuff like that. If anything happened to my phone, I can also make phone calls from it. So that's why I went for 2 watches. This one's on all the time, and I would only ever wear this one for hiking. So speaking of phone calls and communication, there were 2 days when we had no network signal at all. So that is where my Zoleo satellite communicator comes into its own. This pings my location every hour to Joe. You can also send text messages for it. And there's always that SOS feature if there's ever an emergency. This is like a life insurance policy for hikers. So this is the cook set that I took. Alpkit Mai Tai 650 mug, Cedar Summit orange mug that I always use. This was paired up with me X-Boil stove, and in here I've got coffees and sugars and things like that as well. I'm not going to get it all out because this did have plenty of action in the main video. Oh, and fuel. So I took 300 millilitres of bioethanol in this little Trangia bottle. I haven't even used half of it. 300 would have done me 20 boils, but with the stops for pub grub, and I just didn't want as many hot drinks as I thought I would, so didn't need as much fuel, but I'd rather have more than not enough. Got my towel. This was a Cedar Summit Airlight. Very small. I was really surprised with it though. This is all you need for having a shower and drying yourself off basically. Very, very absorbent. Incredibly thin, but takes a lot of water in. Decent bit of kit, but expensive for a little towel. Probably about 20 quid, something like that. Don't tell Joe. Tent pegs. I didn't need them all. I took 14 in total. Eastern 9-inch and 6-inch. This tent does take 14 pegs to totally stormproof it, and we did originally plan to camp on High Pike, and as you saw when we were up there, it was really windy, so every peg would have been used. I've got my super absorbent spongy there. I've got my titanium spoon. And of course, my lovely bit of carpet. Just feel that. If you saw this on a Boxing Day advert, you'd get the underlay fitted free if you bought this stuff. But really nice to have somewhere clean and dry to put your feet. Not going to seal that up, can't be bothered. Still loads of space inside the pack. This is my Atom Packs Roo bum bag, waist pack, fanny pack, all them daft names for it. So what this had in it was things like ibuprofen. I bought one of these. This is a sunscreen stick. I really like this compared to the stuff that you have to rub in or spray on. It's much easier, less messy. Get that from Boots. I've got a little smidge spray. Whoop. Yeah, very handy. That is the microphone kit that I took. GoPro batteries, there's 3 of those, and then there's a power bank. I only took this little 10,000 milliamp one, and then I had to charge things up along the way. So inside my little orange bag there is a charging block which I use to charge at pubs, campsites, things like that. Also had a few treats in here. That's what's left of Skittles. Right, all that's left to go in now is the tent. Now this is the Durston X-Mid 1-person solid. I think I was always going to take this tent, but I had lots of other contenders in the background. But I'm so glad that I chose this for a couple of reasons. First up, it's really lightweight. It's only about 800 grams, so you don't know you've got it in your pack. But it's incredibly easy to pitch up. You've literally got to peg out a rectangle and then just stick the poles in and just lift them up till they can't go any further. You don't have to preset anything, just raise the poles, and you can get away on a campsite anyway with just 4 pegs if you want to. A couple of extra ones if you want to peg doors out. The storage space is huge. There's loads of headroom inside at both ends. You can sit up fully in this. It's so comfortable, and when you're stiff after a hard day's hiking, you want plenty of space to be able to get changed and to relax. There's 2 entrances, so if the wind changed, or if you just want to open the other side in the morning to watch the sunrise and the sunset from the other side. When it comes to usable space, to the weight, I don't think that there's a better tent out there. That's quite a bold statement for me, but just my opinion from the tents that I've used. But do let me know in the comments if you know something better. So the weather was scorching. I had a little bit of condensation one day, but if everything was wet through, it's so easy to unclip the inner and just store them separately. So when you come to pitch the next evening, you've got a dry inner tent. Let's get this in the bag and see how much all of this stuff weighs. Because I carried it most of the time, I'll actually strap my fleece onto the top as well. So my guesstimation, I'd say 10 kilos there. That does include 3 days worth of food, but there's no water. Oh, this hasn't been calibrated. It's just a cheap luggage scale, but be close enough. Zero it. .7 kilos. Let's do that again. I don't think that's too bad at all. To be honest with you though, doesn't matter if it was 10, 15. I chose everything that I wanted to take with me. I wasn't prepared to compromise on that much comfort. Everything that I've taken, I think that I've needed, other than my down jacket. But if it wasn't for the heat wave that we got, I'd have probably needed it anyway. In other conditions, I might need waterproof bottoms as well. It's all down to personal preference and what you're prepared to carry, I guess. So each backpacking trip's different. So you just take what you think you're going to need and just roll with it. Anyway, thanks for watching the Cumbria Way series. I've had some fabulous comments and loads of kind words of encouragement. Shall I do something else like that? I'd like to think so. Give me some ideas in the comments below. If there's anything that you've seen today that you'd like to see a more detailed video on, then do let me know in the comments. And if there's enough of them, I'll try and make a video on it. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.